let me get your thoughts on this. So DC Drano is a guy I follow on Instagram. And
DC Drano.
You roll your eyes. DC Drano. I think it's a clever name. However, he posted this thing on Instagram that I had to repost. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to show you it. Dear female athletes upset at men destroying their sport. Want to be a hero? Want to be known as the girl who single-handedly saved women's sports? Kneel. Next time you're at the starting line in a race against a man and the gun goes off, don't run, swim, or engage the race. Kneel. I promise you will have tens of millions supporting you as you make American history.
No one will know what happened because the media won't show it.
You'd think that.
Yeah.
But just yesterday, just last night, there was this big bicycle race, like women's bicycle race, that there was going to be a trans woman in the bicycle race with them, and all of the biological females threatened to boycott the race. We're not going to do the race. And then so they banned the trans woman from the race.
Wow. I wanted to talk to you about this. Did you watch the Steven Crowder thing where he does the change my mind things?
Yes, I've seen those. I just haven't seen one recently.
Yeah. Like last week, he put out 2 more. And one of them is with a journalist. And he's talking about the should trans be in female sports, change my mind. And the journalist was completely a butthole and wouldn't listen to anything he said, tried to pull up false facts, just all kinds of stuff, and then got out of there and then started posting stuff about how he ran off Crowder. Like, it was crazy. But then he had brought a nice liberal college student on there who they had a nice conversation. But in their discussion, Stephen was like, what about the women? Don't you care about the women? He's like, but the trans people's feelings could be hurt. And Stephen's like, what about the women losing scholarships who are physically being injured in wrestling because the male counterparts are so much larger and being allowed to engage with them in that way? And the kid just didn't care. Like, he's just like, oh, the women will be fine.
And that
crazy.
To me is indoctrination on those points. Like, you just,
Yeah.
we talk about having axioms that you live your life by that they don't have to align with each other. Like, I'm for trans rights, I'm for women's rights, I'm for equal treatment, but trans spilling into women's sports. Trans rights.
Yeah.
So I look at it like, I think Dave Chappelle did it. I think it was Dave Chappelle. I could be wrong. You can let me know in the comments. You can bash me on this if you want or whatever. Had a comedy routine where he's talking about, so LeBron James is just huge. Like, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's like, trans people in sports. And he's like, so should LeBron James declare one day that he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA and score 800 points a game?
And he would.
He would. There's no other over 7 foot tall female in the WNBA.
Yeah.
All they got to do is throw the ball up. He's gonna get it and dunk. And that he's obviously joking, but that's, to me, is like the point. Is like something that glaringly obvious. You wouldn't put LeBron James. And we couldn't even argue his reasoning. You couldn't say, well, he just wants to be the best player in the WNBA. That's why he's transitioning into female.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not allowed to question that at all. The Lia Thomas was 400 and somethingth ranked in
the men's
college in the men's division, and then wins everything in the 500 meter for female. It's like,
Yeah.
come on. And Serena Williams, I think it was Serena Williams, said she would not. I think the exact thing was she would not. It was either she would not play in the men's league, or she would not play with a man in the women's league.
Stephen brought up how Venus and Serena both got beat the same afternoon playing
by this dude who was smoking and drinking.
Yeah,
in between.
He was like a drunk guy who was ranked 250 in the men's
was
division.
Not taking it super serious,
but he trounced both the top
Yeah.
women players in one afternoon.
One of them, I think, one of the games was an ace, where he just like 6-0 or something like that, and the other one scored 1 point or something on him.
Yeah. That's
And,
crazy.
Yeah, well, and there are certain sports and certain activities where the physiological differences between male and female matter. Billiards, the physiological differences don't matter. Even if your arms, even if you don't have the reach that a man does to get across the table, they make those bridges. You can set the cue on there and hit. It's like, and some of the best billiards players in the world are female. Period.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like some sports and some activities you can have unisex because the physiological differences do not matter. But Swimming, they freaking matter. Basketball, it matters. Football, it matters. But now they're forcing, the NFL's coming up with guidelines where that each team has to put at least one coach, has to hire one female coach as for their offensive coaching staff. Has to. That to me is wrong.
Wow.
It makes no sense. Your coaching should be on merit. It shouldn't be on what's between your legs.
I agree with all that, and this changes the subject, but...
Yeah, it does. I kind of rolled. I'm sorry.
I also disagree with, you know how they let reporters in the changing rooms after a game is over?
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, those poor sports players have just won or lost, and they're trying to just clean themselves, and reporters are allowed to walk in and stick cameras in their faces. It's awful.
Is it, though?
It is.
I get paid gazillions.
That doesn't matter. You should still have a right to privacy.
Yeah,
Especially in a shower.
I don't even know that I've ever been in that situation.
What if, okay, you're in a band.
Uh-huh.
You're in the public life. What if after the band is done playing, you want to go rest, and a reporter's like...
I mean, as long as we're not naked.
They're naked sometimes.
Are they? I've never seen them naked in there.
Well, they don't pan down.
Do you know that they're naked?
Yes.
I think they got towels on. I think you're letting your imagination run a little bit.
No. But
I
really,
bet they're naked.
But they do that to them, and I think it's awful.
Oh, if they're going in there when they're nude,
Yeah.
I think that's a little inappropriate. Sure.
I don't think they should be in the locker room at all. You can cut all this.
I think the bill, don't say gay bill, it was interesting that basically all DeSantis says is, hey, you can't indoctrinate our young kids about gender identity and sex and all this kind of
And
stuff.
it's like children under like 8 or something.
So this whole time they've been screaming, and all of these school board meetings where the parents show up and everything, that we're not indoctrinating your kids about gender identity and sexuality. We're not.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
And then the moment somebody makes a bill that says, well, you can't do that, people quit. They're leaving the schools and all this. It's like, so you were doing it.
Yep, they were.
I mean, what other explanation is there? You get mad when somebody says you can't indoctrinate the kids enough to quit your job, but you weren't indoctrinating the kids.
Yeah.
So what about this? And this is traveling down that sort of conspiracy theory rabbit hole. And I'm sorry for all of you who think are going to label me as just QAnon or whatever now. Like, sorry, I'm just traveling. I'm not. I am not.
I did not.
I don't even know what. I really hardly don't even know what that is. Anyways, what do you think about the people who are like, the reason they're wanting to sexualize their kids is because it's also tied to pedophilia?
Oh, I'm one of those people. I know everything I just said.
So
but I think
as a representative for the people who believe that this whole push about gender identity and stuff is to normalize pedophilia, let's talk.
No.
Let's talk about it.
I do believe that there are people that you would consider very normal, average, everyday people that are pedophiles. And I think it's more prevalent than people know. I think there's lots of grown men who look like normal, happy grown men, and they're wanting to have sex with 14-year-olds. And that's pedophilia.
What about Corey Feldman and his whole story? How about Hollywood essentially like normalizes it, like at a young
on
age,
purpose.
exposes people to it, normalizes it on purpose. Are you one of the ones who thinks that that's like the ultimate goal, is to get kids at a young age just normalized to sexual stuff?
Yeah. How organized is it, though, is the question. I do think there are very powerful people, and they are in bars and back rooms together, and they're having these conversations, and we would not enjoy them, and they're making these detailed plans. I don't think we can publish this.
Chandra's afraid she's going to seem like a conspiracy theorist.
But I do think there's higher up people that are in power that have an agenda.
I am one who
and
thinks,
it's bad for the children.
I am one who thinks if you don't question the motives of that are driving some of the big choices in our nation, in our pop culture, sociopolitical stuff, if you don't question some of the motives that are driving those things, it's foolish. It's to your detriment. You really need to question those motives. Like, I can tell you our motive right now. One of our big motives is we want subscribers, and I want to try to make a living off YouTube. Our primary motive, that's secondary or tertiary. Our primary motive is to prove that, be Christians and we can share a Christian viewpoint on some of this big stuff and reclaim sort of the Christian identity, because I'm tired of the world just telling people what we are.
Yeah, that's true. Because I feel like, say you're a Christian and
Indeed.
you like, but like,
now the cat's out of the bag. You outed me. Oh.
But like, if you're funny, if you talk about sex, if you just all these taboo things that they're like, oh, well, you're a Christian, you can't go there, and it's like, what are you talking about? I'm a human.
If I was never able to talk about sex, my marriage would be an utter disappointment. Don't make that face. This has been Let's Talk About It. Thank you guys for watching. Do subscribe. Most of you guys who are watching this aren't subscribed to the channel. Shame on you. Subscribe. It's really easy. Let's talk about it.